Yeah, they're all messed up.
Hi, I am Ozzy the Wonder Squirrel. Don't forget to watch Evil Dead Chick on Deadites on Deck on YouTube. Oh, and subscribe, man!
Can't sleep, no matter how hard you try. The Sandman is deprived friend, drift off to dreamland, visit us again soon.
Howdy, gang. Hey, the poet, and welcome to yet another edition of Insomnia Cure. This one's going to be a short one, folks. I had a total of 4 movies, 2 for 1978, 2 for 1979. And that did not mean that there weren't a lot of horror movies that came out those years, but some of them I had seen and they were fantastic, so they won't be for Insomnia Cure. And some of them I had never seen, so I couldn't really comment on. So there may be some that you guys may have seen from the years 1978 to 1979 that you think, well, why didn't Dana include this? Because this was boring as all get out. But I'm going to be talking about 4 of them tonight. And this will finish up our 1970s. So we did 1980s, we've done 1970s. Now, if you guys and gals would like for me to do this, I can certainly continue into the 90s. And I'm sure I can dig up some stuff that would fit the criteria for Insomnia Cure. So just let me know, folks, if you would like me to do that. That's the poet, if that's something that you would want to see me do, or anybody else that wants to see me do, I'd be glad to continue this. All right. So also, I want to again say that I apologize to anybody that was expecting Horror Mania last night, but due to you vote yes to the 90s, the poet, well, I thank you for that. And, you know, I'll be glad to do it even if nobody else says, hey, Dana, I want you to do the 90s, because, hey, people might come in here if I do it. But thank you for voting yes to that. And if we get through the 90s, then if y'all want to continue into the 2000s, we can do that too. So Insomnia Cure seems to be something that has been popular, that's kind of resonated with people, even if everybody can't come in here to the live streams. You know, they seem to get quite a few watches on them. So back to what I was saying about Horror Mania. Due to Bruce Campbell's recent announcement that he has been diagnosed with a treatable but not curable cancer, I thought it only, it was long overdue, like I said last night, that I do something for my horror hero, Bruce Campbell, because I am the Evil Dead chick. I'm the huge fan of the original Evil Dead trilogy, and I've always been a huge fan of Bruce Campbell. And the poet, since you're active in the chat tonight, I just wanted to put this out there. I don't know how many of y'all saw Joe Bob Briggs' latest video. I was a little concerned about it, as were several other people. And some people might say, well, there's no need to be concerned, because people were already saying that. They were saying, well, he didn't say it was going to be the series finale. He said it was going to be the season finale. Okay. I just wanted to bring this up because I'm a member of the Lost Drive-In Patreon that Darcy has worked on for the last few years. And it's a project that she was working on to pull all of the classic Joe Bob stuff, the Monster Vision stuff, the drive-in theater stuff, all of that stuff, off of from the movie channel. And so she's kind of digging into the vaults and bringing all that stuff out. Anyway, So we've been treated for the last 8 years, for those of you that are into Joe Bob Briggs, to the last drive-in. And Joe Bob is usually upbeat when he does these little videos for the Lost Drive-In people. I mean, other people saw it, but I saw it late last night because I'm a member of the Lost Drive-In Patreon. But so, anyways, I watched it, and the reason why I'm concerned is because Joe Bob looks so sad, and usually he doesn't look like that. And the caption underneath the video basically said, Joe Bob wanted me to put this out, or wanted us to put this out. That's all we can tell you, but Friday is going to be big. And Friday is apparently the season finale for season 8 of The Last Drive-In. So Joe Bob starts it off and he said, hello, mutant fam or family. He said, if you've been watching The Last Drive-In for the last 8 years, you know how we do things. And then he looked sort of somber and he said, you need to watch on Friday. It's going to be big, or something to that effect. And then he kind of takes a little bit of a pause and he says, we love you guys. And I'm just kind of perplexed by the whole thing. So if anybody has any insight or opinions on that, if you saw the video and you, the poet, you say you don't think he's going anywhere. Look at the Up All Night Resurrection. You are right on that. You are definitely correct on that. And like Steve says, Shudder's not going to get rid of The Last Drive-In because that's its biggest draw. People say, I wouldn't even have a Shudder subscription. A lot of people say that. I wouldn't even have a Shudder subscription if it wasn't for The Last Drive-In. But then I worry that maybe Joe Bob's sick. We just got the announcement about Bruce Campbell. It's just worrisome. Because it may be something that's beyond his control. He may not want to quit, but maybe something's come up that, So anyway, that's why I rescheduled my Slasher Fest until next month. Because I just got to watch it, and I just got to watch it live. I've got to figure out good, bad, and different. I got to figure out what's going on. Someone told me that they thought maybe Darcy was leaving because Darcy seems to be really into the wrestling stuff as of late. I think she always was into wrestling, but who knows? Maybe Chris Jericho's pulled her away to do something. I don't know. But I guess we'll all find out Friday, won't we? I just want to remind y'all before we get to these movies that there are several different ways that you can support me in the channel and it won't cost you a dime. One of the ways is by subscribing. Folks, there's not a downside to subscribing to someone's channel. And don't let anybody tell you there is. You can subscribe to as many or as few channels as you want to. But if there's no drawbacks to it, why not? If you're enjoying the content somebody's putting out, and they're you haven't heard rumblings that they're going around harassing people, trying to make them watch stuff. I certainly won't do that. So once you subscribe, that's your business, how much you watch or how little you watch or how many live streams you attend or how few you attend, right? So once you subscribe, you can hit that notification bell. So hopefully, if YouTube's got its ducks in a row, you won't miss any of the new content I've got coming out. And then you can hit that like button on stuff you especially enjoy. And heck, if you like it all, hit that like button all across the board, folks. And here's one more way that you can support me and the channel. It won't cost you a dime, won't cost anybody you tell about the channel a dime. And that's by sharing my channel at Deadites on Deck with friends and family members that you think would also enjoy the content I'm putting out. Or you can pick one of my videos or streams that I've done recently or in the past that you really enjoyed and tag me or tag my channel at Deadites on Deck in the description. Okay. So there's one more thing I wanted to show off just because I'm proud of it. And I'll try to remember to put the little Insomnia Cure overlay back on there. But I have been working, and some people may think, well, Dana, why'd you have to work for 2 nights on this? But I did to get it all lined out. And I still see where I can tweak these things. But these are animated overlays. I've got static overlays now, but this is the first animated GIF overlay that I created. You can see where she's got some artifacting around her, and I'm going to try to work to fix these as I move along. And you can see a little bit of white kind of popping up there where her arm is. But these are Evil Dead chick animations. I want to have, she's winking there if you can't tell, but I'm going to have her doing like a thumbs up, have her blowing kisses, have her reading the Necronomicon, just different things. And if I get good at doing the animation for her, then I will start seeing if I can animate some of my other characters to have on-screen overlays for different things. But anyway, put the Insomnia Cure thing back on there. All right, so let's go ahead and get to these movies before I lose everybody to boredom. Like I said, there's only 4 tonight, folks. And I more than likely will have another Insomnia Cure starting with the years 1990 and 1991, folks. So you can look forward to that next Wednesday, hopefully. All right, so the first one I want to talk about for 1978 is Patrick. Now, I read about this one and I thought it really sounded scary. And I thought that this one was the one that was pretty bloody. Okay. Turns out that's Patrick 2. All right. So I was just checking my phone there. But it turns out the bloody one, the more graphic one, is Patrick 2. Okay. But I thought this was going to be fantastic, and I blind bought it. So the tagline says, some people thought he was crazy. He appeared to be deaf, dumb, and blind. None of them knew of the sixth sense, the power of Patrick's mind. Now, this actually, I don't even believe is rated R, and I did not know that. So not a lot goes on in this, folks. I mean, just to start off, it could have had a lot more action in it. Not a whole lot goes on in this. And I'm just not really too impressed with this, unfortunately, with this movie. So, you know, maybe some of you would get something out of it, but the idea of a guy laying in bed, comatose pretty much, for the duration of the movie, pretty much, and nothing really, you know, telekinetic or anything happens that much. But if you want to watch one that's a lot gorier and also has a few other like sexual exploitation elements and stuff, then Patrick 2 might be your ticket. And I believe Patrick 2 is rated R. But yeah, not a lot going on in this movie. Yeah. not a lot I can tell you other than not a lot happens in this movie. So I find it Insomnia Cure fodder. So, okay, the next one, okay, is Nurse Sherry. And this, as you can see here, meets Sherry for an evening of pleasure and terror. Now, is there slashing in this? Yes, there is some. But the reason why I have a problem with Nurse Sherry is because I don't think it goes necessarily into porno territory. We're going to be talking about that later on. They're all messed up when I talk about the film Wet Wilderness, which people probably say, well, Dana, you should know with a title like Wet Wilderness that something's going to be, mostly porn. But it is more adult oriented. We'll just say that. Okay. And I don't like being lied to. And this film is marketed as a horror slasher film. Right? So I don't mind a little slap and tickle, a little sex in there, but when it's overt and there's a lot of it and it kind of overshadows the horror stuff, that's when it pisses me off. And that's when it begins to, I become bored with the sexual exploits going on. That's what makes this fit for Insomnia Cure, folks. And some guys out there might say, well, what's wrong with you? You don't, again, I have been accused of not liking attractive women, which is totally untrue. I've been accused of not liking women at all, which is completely untrue as well. So I don't want anybody to get that idea that that's what I'm downing these movies that have more sex in them because of attractive women or because of women in general. Some of my best friends are women, folks, and I have nothing against attractive women. I know I'm not attractive, but I'm not jealous of them. I just personally, when I'm watching a horror movie, I want to see a little more horror than I do female flesh. Now, guys may have a different idea, but I'm a heterosexual female, and it's just, I don't need to see that every second of every movie, especially not a horror movie. Okay? So, even though this has got some horror in it, and it's a little bloody, I just can't get behind it because, and I think I watched this one with Steve. I just don't get enough of the horror element out of it to enjoy. And therefore, it's Insomnia Cure for me. Try to vote. You say a movie Rob Zombie can remake with his wife Sherry playing Sherry. Yep, Sherry Moon playing Nurse Sherry. All right. So, moving on to 1979. This is another movie I blind bought because I thought it was going to be good, folks. And that's why I warn you guys and gals against blind buying things. Or, when I say something's great and you say, oh, well, I'll run out and buy it. I don't want you to do that because everybody thinks differently about stuff. Sometimes we think the same about things, but most of the time everybody's got little differences about things that they think about movies. So I blind bought this one because, I knew it was going to be an exploitation movie, but it turned out it's not even that, okay? Because nothing really happens. And that's Human Experiments. A Journey into Terror and Madness. This is also known under the title of Hellhole. And that's what I bought it under. And, I thought I was going to get, I do not want to see real people tortured or real women tortured. I don't get off on even fake torture. Okay. But I thought it was going to be one of those things where maybe there was going to be some slashing going on, maybe some weird experiments, and it was just going to make it worth my while. Folks, my recollection is nothing really happens in this movie. Why it was called Human Experiments or Hellhole, I'll never know. You have women trying to get out of this mental hospital or whatever it is where they're doing the weird experiments. But again, nothing really happens to write home about. So I think I literally did fall asleep during this one. For real. I did. So, if you haven't seen Human Experiments, aka Hellhole, in my opinion, you're not missing anything. But if you're intrigued and you want to watch it and you want to see if you like it better than I did, I would try to find a for free copy out there somewhere that you can watch. Just if you want to check it out. But it has a lot of hype behind it, but it really doesn't deliver, folks. It's one of those. All right. Now I saved the best for last or the worst for last. Oh, God, this one's awful. It is awful. And that's Allison's birthday. And this is a little background on Allison's birthday. This was a movie that, remember when Fangoria and Gorezone had those ads in the back of the magazine? This is in the days when the VHSs were mostly unattainable for regular people, right? You would have to rent them. And I always, just on this title alone, and then I think I read up on it a little later, and it just sounded like it was right up my alley. Another one I could watch on my birthday and all that stuff. And then me and Steve watched it, and I was like, oh my gosh, because it is brooding, but not atmospheric in any way. And it is so slow and it is so boring. And you start out with this Allison and her friends playing with a Ouija board before her birthday. And then apparently, I guess there's this satanic cult or something that's one that brings some kind of awakening about in her the closer it gets to her birthday. But folks, nothing happens. Nothing happens. It's just brooding and plotting and just totally boring, folks. Sorry, folks. But yeah, nothing to write home about with this one. It's just as dull can be. It had a great premise, but somewhere along the lines, it just fell short for me. And it fell short in a big way. But that's about all I can tell you about that without boring you by talking more about it, because there just isn't anything to say about it. But the poet, I want to thank you for being in the chat and for keeping me company in the chat tonight. I'm not sure where everybody else is these days. It used to, more people would come into the Insomnia Cure streams and be discussing things, but that's okay. I'm just going to keep on keeping on. And I hope those of you that were in here early got to see the Pets of Horror intro. That's a new series that I'm going to be starting here shortly. I think this weekend. I think Saturday I've got one set up. But I guess that's all for me for tonight. But I also want to thank those of you that maybe were watching but didn't feel comfortable getting in the chat, or maybe you were watching the stream on a device like a smart television where you weren't able to chat at the same time. And for those of you that couldn't join me at all or couldn't stay for the duration, and you will watch this on the replay, I thank you guys and gals as well. And as always, I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the night, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday night, folks. And I'll see everybody next time.